Hi, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us for our Lunch and Learn with Mindful Design. Today I'm going to go over Q&As from our Facebook group. So if you're not in the private Facebook group, please, and you're interested, you're welcome to join. It's a free private Facebook group. It's called Your Feng Shui Journey. But we also post these videos on YouTube and on our blog every week. So this week we're going to be going over some questions that we get, that we received from the Facebook group. And I also wanted to talk a little bit at first and at the end again about our Feng Shui certification program. So Laura and I have a school called Mindful Design School, and we teach Feng Shui certification. And we're having an info session on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll be talking about our backgrounds, giving you more information about the program, what you'll learn, and I think it's really wonderful. I know that a lot of people are interested in Feng Shui. I mean, we get all these questions all the time, and it's really a wonderful teaching and skill and philosophy to incorporate into your life, and it can be a really tremendously impactful learning experience in terms of self-growth and healing. And then you can also use these tools to help other people and become a consultant. So anyway, so I'm just going to jump into some questions, and I'll talk a little bit more about the Q&A at the end. Oh, and if you want to sign up for the Q&A session on Saturday, it's at mindfuldesign.training.com is where you can opt in. Alrighty, so let's see. I selected a few topics. Let me pull them up from the Facebook group. Okay, we have so many questions, but I picked 5 of them, so I think I could go over all of them. So one is from Vijaya Bilamoria, and she asks how to activate entrance energy. It's very quiet. So so I'm assuming that Vijaya would like to have more action or more activity or more opportunities coming into her life. And in Feng Shui, your entrance represents how opportunities come to you and how you see the world and how the world sees you. And so it's very important to have some attention placed on your entrance. It's like your face to the world, right? So let's see, there's some comments here. Let's see what they say. Okay. Someone made a comment that you can add, if you want some more energy, you could add fire by adding a red doormat. That's a great idea. If you want a red doormat, you could actually just add any doormat if that's possible. That way you're putting some attention to the space, and you're creating some details and activating it. So another woman, Jen, suggested in the Facebook group, suggested a wind chime. So that's also a great thing that one can add. So a wind chime, typically they're made of metal, and that activates the metal energy, which activates voice and communication. And you can make beautiful, of course it makes beautiful noise, and it reacts to the wind. So that's a great way to bring in some more communication into your entrance and into your life, and more opportunities. Laura, my partner, Laura Morris, added one of her videos to go over 3 difficult entryways and to welcome health, peace, and prosperity. And then another person, Sarah, wrote that she keeps a light on in her entryway 24/7 since it's naturally dark. And so the light is great. Light is also fire energy. And I also added a mirror and a small table to draw the eye in. And she keeps flowers there. So I don't know the whole layout, but some kind of, again, that's placing some kind of attention, is giving some life by adding the flowers and the table and the mirror. And so then Vidya asked, isn't having a mirror facing the entrance attracting negativity? So it doesn't have to attract negativity. And actually that's a big thing that Laura and I really try to focus on in mindful design, is working on this idea of, are you going to attract something negative? Are you going to make a mistake? Are you going to do something bad? And really, that is a very like mundane or basic way of looking at life. And in fact, you can really look at good, negative and positive as two sides of the same coin. For instance, if something negative happens, like I'm sick right now, but the positive aspect of that is that maybe my body needed some time to rest. And so there's always a teaching in something negative. So Vijay, if you put a mirror up and you think that you're going to attract negativity, you're probably going to make it happen. And maybe you need it. Maybe you need that kind of teaching in your life. So anyway, I'm challenging people to not look at things as binary, as good and bad, but how, like, what does this mean? What can we learn from it? And how do we reflect on it? And what does it say about our lives? And instead of having this fear-based mentality of, I don't want to do something that's going to attract negative energy. Because you'll create a self-fulfilling prophecy then. So let's see. So Vijay also asked something about the entrance in the north area and if she should put more blue or black related items. So so Laura and I practice BTB Feng Shui, and BTB Feng Shui does not look at the cardinal directions like north, south, east, west. We look at where the energy enters the space. That's why when I'm speaking and when Laura's speaking, we're talking about how your entrance represents how opportunities come to you. That's what we're talking about. So it's important to try not to mix up all the schools. It's kind of like if you want to make a coffee cake and you take like 5 different recipes and you just kind of pull it together, but that's not really going to work if you don't know how to make a coffee cake. Now, if you know how to make them really well and you're an expert at it, then yes, you can like look at all the different recipes and kind of make your own. But if you're doing it for the first time, you know, it's a science to bake. So you don't want to, you want to go in with a humble heart and know that maybe you want to go with an expert. So anyway, so Vijay, if you're interested in Feng Shui and because you're asking a lot of questions on the group, maybe find one person or one school that you are most attracted to and stay with that and stick with that, or work with just one book and work with one area and don't get overwhelmed, because it's going to get all mixed up and then you'll end up with like a cake that you can't eat, right? So the entrance area lies in the north. That's irrelevant for our school. If you are more interested in that, I would suggest you go to a different school. And Laura and I cannot advise on that, because we're talking about the entranceway is important in BTB Feng Shui, because that's where the energy comes in. So I'll add my 2 cents, how to activate the energy. So since today we're talking about Q&A and we're talking about the certification program, like I said, the entrance in BTB Feng Shui is how the energy comes into your home and how the energy comes into your life. So it affects you, like you go in and out of your home every day, even having like a squeaky door or something so your door can't open fully. All of those are obstacles that you have in your path, and they can represent obstacles in your path in life, right? So your home represents your outer environment, represents your inner environment. So if it's quiet, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's something you need. If you want to stir it up a little bit, you would do something similar in your space. So for instance, you can move furniture or things around in your entrance. You can add new elements. You can clean things up. And things like I love the light. Like I always recommend that, like changing the light bulb is a great thing to do in the entrance, because that brings in fresh new fire energy. And even sweeping can stir up the chi. Okay, so that is my response to Vidya. Okay, so we'll go next to, let's see, Caitlin. Okay, so Caitlin Jade McCrae asked that I'm really getting back into Feng Shui. Where's the best place to put a plant? So we received a couple comments. Laura, my partner, Laura Morris, shared her blog on decorating with wood. So that's one perspective. And then Stein Christensen gave a good answer, I guess. She wrote, it depends on what kind of plant. And then she added an article from The Spruce called Good and Bad Feng Shui Plants. Now, I'm not a big proponent of good or bad, or labeling things good or bad, or you like or dislike. So my answer to this question about where's the best place to put a plant, I would say, first of all, not everything in your home is a Feng Shui adjustment, nor does it have to be a Feng Shui adjustment. So I would say, one, if you just want to add a plant because you love plants, then put it where you love it, where it works. If you want to add more wood energy, which represents growth and flexibility and kind-heartedness in your life. So that means you can't be it's not being stubborn. You're trying to work against being stubborn and digging your heels in. And if you're open to becoming more flexible and kind to others, then we could talk about where to put a plant. So you could put plants in anywhere in your home, actually, if you want to cultivate more human-heartedness and more kindness and more flexibility. And you can also look at the Bagua map and look at different areas that you want to work on. And again, we don't want to work on every area. If you start working on all 9 areas, what the teaching is that there's actually a book that we use a lot in BTB Feng Shui called the I Ching, and it's the Book of Changes, and it's a book of divination from Taoism. And the idea is that when everything is really good, when you're at the apex, when you're at the top of the mountain, the only place to go is down. And so the idea is that if you try to fix everything, not only will you become overwhelmed, and you won't be able to work, you won't be able to focus your energy in the ways that are necessary in the necessary areas, but your energy will be depleted. So, because you'll just be trying to do too many things at once. So just I would say pick one area that resonates with you. Sorry, you just have to pick one. And say you want to work on your love life. So find the partnership, love, relationship area, which is called Kun. And in the Bagua map, it's also pink. And Laura and I have a Bagua map mini book that you could download. That's for free. So you can locate where that is, and then you can place a plant there to cultivate more growth and flexibility in your relationship. So that would mean that you're going to try to be less stubborn and more open-minded and more balanced and more soft and accommodating to your partner. Okay, so let's see what else. Let's look at Michelle's post. So Michelle had a question. Michelle Bernardo asked, she's quite new to Feng Shui, but she's trying to align her home to the Bagua map, and she's a bit confused because there's different areas of the Bagua map, and those areas also relate to the 5 elements. So I guess she's confused also by the elements. She just seems confused. And she knows how to add the colors to the section of her home, but do I need to add the element as well? So I'm going to stop there. So you don't have to add the colors, and you don't have to add the element. You don't even have to use a Bagua map in Feng Shui. That's just one of the aspects. So if you know how to add the colors, why don't you just stick with what you know and do that well, right? Do what you know well, do what you understand well. And then you can, once you figured out the basics, then you can start to incorporate more changes. So, adding the colors is really kind of, what do we call it? The Barnes and Noble way of using Feng Shui, but it works. It's a very basic, literal, you take a color and put it in the color of the area. And you can do that. So I would just stick with that. And no, you don't have to add the element as well. In fact, like, you're probably making it way too complicated for yourself. It's not really unnecessary, because if you do one thing really well, that's much more effective than doing 10 things really not well. And then your second question is, the Bagua map should be for the entire house layout as entrance from the front door. Okay, the English is a little off here. All right. She's asking, I think, should she lay the Bagua map for the entire house? And she's clarifying it. Shouldn't it be used while entering a room in the house? Okay, so I think she's asking, what I'm going to just clarify is that the Bagua map is a concept, right? It's an energy map that can grow and change. So it can be laid on your entire house based on your front door, but it can also be laid on each individual room based on the room, the main door to that room. Or you can even go small. You can go smaller. You can lay it on your desk, or you can lay it on your bed, or you can lay it on your face, or you can lay it on your hand, or you can go bigger. You can go. You can lay it on your whole property. You can lay it on your city, your block, the universe. And with that, Laura and I often recommend you start with just working on your bedroom first, because that's closest to you. And as you get closer, it's more effective because it's affecting your personal energy more. So, so that's great, Michelle, that you picked up on the fact that the Bagua can also be used in different areas of your, on individual rooms. So finally, she said, any help is greatly appreciated, as they just moved into a new house and a new location and would like to have positive energy for the entire family so they can adjust and look to the future better. So, so overall, like, it sounds like things are good. Like, you can just, what I would recommend, if you just moved into the house, you could do a space clearing or blessing or dedication for the space with your intentions. And that works in a couple ways. One, it has you slowing down and stopping and thinking about what you want, instead of having like a general, we want positive energy. It's like, well, what are the 9 things that you really want? Like, you want to have like good health, or like you want the health to improve, or you want your kids to get along really well. Whatever it is, like, the more specific you are, the more effective things are. So instead of like having a blanket statement, like, it's like going to the doctor and saying, I'm not feeling well. Well, you need to know kind of what it is you want to improve, because we can't read your mind. So, so I would do like a space clearing, and then you can also welcome yourself to the home and make a list of 9 things that you, intentions that you want for your family that relate to this growth that you want and the future. Okay. Next is, ooh, it's getting long. Okay, go faster. Michelle Kelly asks about mirror placement. She just moved into a new property, and the kitchen and dining area are all in one room, and the dining table is not separate to the kitchen. It's within its units, and the sink directly is above the dining table. So, okay. Sink is directly in front of the dining table. That's fine. Okay, so I know placing a mirror above the dining table is good for Feng Shui. So not necessarily, but if you read that somewhere, maybe that person, whoever wrote that, go with what they say and figure out why. But I haven't been taught that necessarily. But bad to be in the kitchen. So that's also placing a mirror. So I don't know if you're asking if the dining table is bad in the kitchen or the mirror is bad in the kitchen, but I would say neither is bad in the kitchen. But you can't really get around it, because you're like, how do I get around it? You can't, because you're in a rental, you said, and you can't change it. So how do you work with the situation? How can you be flexible? How can you accommodate things? And again, from how I've been taught is there's nothing wrong with or nothing negative Feng Shui wise about a dining table being in a kitchen, or a mirror being in a kitchen, or nothing particularly good about a mirror above a dining table, unless there's something you specifically want to manifest. So, and depends on your whole layout of your house. So you said you wanted to place the mirror to help open up the space and make it feel bigger, as it's quite dark and dingy. All right, so that's great. Then I think go for it. The mirror by the dining table is great. You said it helps open up the space and it makes it feel bright, bigger, and lighter for you. So I think that it's already done a lot to improve the energy and the chi for your living area. And so I guess my answer is good with what you've done. And if it feels good to you, that's the most important thing. And let's see. There's really not, there was a comment, but not very, it didn't really answer your question. So yeah, so the only other comment I might say is that just see. If you said that your kitchen is quite dark and dingy, so dark is okay, I guess. You can bring in more light, and with light fixtures and brighter light bulbs, which can make a huge difference. And also you said it's dingy. So the dingy part you can also do something about. So your kitchen represents your wealth, but it also represents your health as well, because that's where you nourish yourself. So I would recommend that you do a good cleaning. So finally, get to the last one. Kelly Hemming. She asks, hi everyone, I've brought a small water feature and I've read it goes in the southeast of my home. Do I need to be in the middle of my lounge to find southeast? So we already talked about this. Laura and I have practiced BTB Feng Shui. There's dozens of schools of Feng Shui. And so the school that we practice actually does not look at the cardinal directions. So I can't advise on that. And you should, if that's something you're interested in, I would recommend you go to a Flying Star or classical Feng Shui consultant and ask them. But you continue. Also, it says that the water must face flowing the house. So I don't know if that's true for other classical Feng Shui or the other Feng Shuis. So the water must be facing the house. Does this mean facing towards my front door or facing towards my back door? So, okay, if you're going to take it from the BTB perspective, you can put a water feature. I would ask you, why are you putting in a water feature? What are you trying to do? And generally, if you're trying to, say, bring in more prosperity, because water is money. Like water, cash, wealth flows like money. Water is money. So the more you hold on to it, the more you'll, if you try to hold on to water, what happens? It's gone. It's not going to stay in your hands. It's going to slowly leak out. So you always have to keep it moving. And so if you're taking it, if you're open to throwing out the whole southeast, whatever thing, and if you're looking to bring in more wealth and prosperity into your home, and therefore one of the things you're interested in is using this water feature that you purchased, then what you could do is place a water feature near the front of your home and have the water flowing facing towards the center of the home. That way the water and wealth is not flowing outside your home, like back out the front door, but it's flowing into your space. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so we went through 5 questions today. And there was one more thing that Kelly said. So she said, sorry to ask so many questions. I'm just so scared that I might place it in the wrong place. And I want to touch on that too. Again, Feng Shui, the Feng Shui that we teach at Mindful Design School is not based on fear. And it's not based on doing things wrong. Because sometimes maybe it's not textbook right, but it still achieves the same thing because your intention is really important. So think about that. Like, what are you scared about? Like, why are you scared to ask questions? And why are you scared to put something in the wrong place? And instead, can you approach this with an open heart? And if you are bringing in the water feature for wealth, which is what most people do, that might be related, that there might be some kind of poverty mentality or fear that's holding you back. Like you're like people who hold on so tightly to their money, like that, like I said, it's like water. What's going to happen if you hold on so tightly because you're scared to lose your water or your cash, and you end up with nothing? You end up with like something that's just going to disappear. So I'd really challenge you to look deeper into your words that you use and where that comes from. Okay, so we're going to wrap up, and thank you so much for listening. And again, Laura and I are teaching a certification program that starts in April. And this is if you want to become a Feng Shui consultant or just dive deeper and really understand, so you're not all mixed up with different schools, because this is something that really resonates with you. And, you know, Laura and I are really great examples of how it's really changed our lives. So we're offering a free info session this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can sign up at mindfuldesigntraining.com. And we look forward to seeing all of you. You can ask any questions you have about the certification program, and we'll go into depth into what what we'll be teaching. Okay, well, I hope everyone has a great week, and thank you. Bye-bye.